Okay, hello everybody. My name is Autumn Zule, and this is Food for Thought. So, if you guys could guess, how many people would you say rely on food from food banks in this area, the Santa Clara, San Mateo valleys? If you could just guess. Okay, any other guesses? Okay. C? Okay, so the correct answer is actually 1 in 10, which I thought was pretty staggering considering that there are 230,000 people in these two counties. And if you do the math, obviously, that means that 23,000 people rely on getting food from food banks, or our local food bank. So, just a little segue into what I wanted to do for our project. So when I learned about what this project was, I immediately knew that I wanted to help people in some way. So my initial thought was because of the hurricane that had hit Puerto Rico, I wanted to do something by supplying drinking water because 3.3 million people were suddenly left without food, water, or shelter. So I wanted to do something about it. So I did more research and I found out that it would be really difficult to get resources from here to Puerto Rico. So I decided to look a little bit smaller. So that's how I got my idea when I did some more research that even our Second Harvest Food Bank, our local Second Harvest Food Bank, needs just as much help. So I decided to set up my own food drive to collect food to donate it to the food bank. And over the course of about 3.5, 4 weeks, I collected about 130 pounds of food. So, what did I do in the process of this entire project? So, one of the things that I did is I made a website. Here are some screenshots from my website that just talked a little bit about me and why I was doing the drive and where it was going to be, and then also just what a perishable food item was. And then over the course of the 4 weeks that I did run the food drive, which is about early to mid-April to mid-May, I went to Safeway and I collected all the food that was in the bins and dropped it off at the Second Harvest Food Bank routinely. So, and they also logged they would weigh my food to log how much I had collected. So, some of the setbacks and the plan that I initially had to change a little bit to accommodate what had happened. Basically, initially I wanted to just set one day and just say like 9 to 9, come bring food and just collect a bunch of food just for one day. But as I started planning for this day, I realized it would probably be a better idea just to spread it out over the course of a couple weeks like I ended up doing, because that would give people more of an opportunity to donate food. And so obviously I think it worked a lot better because I collected over 100 pounds of food. And so something that I learned from this is, especially in this area, people aren't going to care unless you give them a reason why. And also another reason why people don't care as much about something like this, like getting food for our community, is because it's common to think that in Silicon Valley, because it's such an affluent and privileged area, which it is, there isn't anyone who's really struggling with something like not having enough food. But that's really not true. Like the statistic said, 1 in 10 people actually struggle. So it was really difficult because not a lot of people would donate, I think, for that reason. It's just kind of there, but people don't really think about it. And so this epiphany that I had kind of dawned on me in the middle to the end of my project. So if I could have gone back and done it again, I probably would have tried to do something to combat this misconception and try to raise more awareness for the food bank, and gone more at that angle instead of just collecting food. But that's something that kind of happened later. And so what I learned about myself and what one person can do in our community is that going into this, I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult than it was. But what I learned is that even though I'm just one person in this entire community, it wasn't that difficult for me to collect this much food. And I think it's pretty cool that the amount of food that I raised was enough to feed a 4-person family 3 meals a day for 9 days. So that's just me as one person. So if you think about if everyone, or even just like 1 in 10 people, 1 in 5 people just tried to help out, it would really make a big difference. And so this also gave me the confidence to know that I am able to do things like this, and it made me feel like if I want to help, it's not that difficult to do so in our community. So what I want you guys to take away is the old proverb says, charity begins at home. And for me, Silicon Valley and Saratoga is my home. So I feel like if you guys are the way that I am, that you always feel like because you're so privileged, you just have to like help other people who aren't. You don't have to, like, my initial thought was, oh, I should go to a third world country or Puerto Rico or like somewhere like less privileged. I always wanted to go and do something like that, when really locally right here there's always something to do to help. So if you guys want to do something, start small and work your way up. And I definitely feel like from this it's given me the experience that I need to go and do something a little bit bigger, which I'm really happy about. So thank you.
Alright, questions?
Yeah.
Do you have any plan to like do something similar in the future, or like inspire other people to do something similar?
I definitely really liked my experience just because it was a lot easier than I thought, and because, like, I don't know, I thought it was really cool with the amount of food that I collected. Like I said, it could feed like an average family for 9 days. That it would be something that I would probably tell people about my experience, about how easy it was to try to get people. I mean, they don't have to do what I did and like do it for 4 weeks, but just to donate food more, it was so easy, you know, and just to help people who are in need. So I would like to tell people about my experiences, but at this point I don't plan on like making a PSA or making a video or anything like that. Yeah.
How did you calculate the amount of food that was enough for people?
Well, the average person eats about 4 pounds of food per day, and then I just thought, like, oh, let's just say an average family, which is usually like two parents and 2 kids, like on average, and I just did the math. Yeah. Thank you.